What's the difference between a 37-pound bike and a 80-pound bike? Wow. Are there features that this bike has that this lighter bike doesn't? Did xlab sacrifice some stuff to keep the weight down? Or is it just a matter of better quality parts? That's what we're gonna find out. Okay, so the most obvious difference, of course, is the frame. And what's interesting is that it's not because of the material. They're both made from aluminum. The difference is in how much aluminum they used. And this frame is humongous from top to bottom. And then with the xlab, it's very small. The weight difference of just the frames is 10 pounds. That frame is 10 pounds heavier than that. The second biggest weight difference is the motor. With this fat bike, the motor is in the wheel. This is a 750 watt motor, which is about 12 pounds. xlab went the mid-drive route. These types of motors are much smaller and only weigh about 4 to 5 pounds. That's a difference of 7 pounds just with the motor. But don't let the size fool you. This bike can still hit 28 miles per hour. Well, I should say it should hit 28 miles per hour. That's why I'm here to test if that's true. There's 3 speed modes. Got it set to the highest. Here we go. When I was casually pedaling, just with my normal cadence, I was hitting 22 to 23. And then why I'm out of breath right now is because I was trying to hit 28. So I really increased my cadence, put it to the highest gear, and I can only get 26, 27. Wow, let's go. You definitely gotta earn the speed. Okay, well, now you know the first trade-off when it comes to a super lightweight bike. You gotta work for the speed. The hub motor on this fat bike is pretty dang powerful. The bike carries you down the road. When you're going the ultra lightweight bike, you're not gonna see a hub motor on these types of bikes. It's always gonna be a mid-drive because they're so much lighter. But with it being small and light, it's just not as powerful as those hubs. So just know that you're gonna get a little bit of a workout with this bike. The next big separator as far as weight is in the battery. The bigger the bike, the bigger the battery's gonna be. Hauling a lot of weight around requires a big battery, and this one on this fat bike is 11 pounds. The battery in the xlab is about 4 pounds. That's a 7-pound difference just with the batteries. Now, the downside with this bike is that you can't remove the battery. Well, you can, but you have to take all of this stuff off and slide it out, which is kind of a pain in the butt. Or with this one, it just pops out. Do you like that feature? Huh? Yeah? Now, as far as recharge time, this only takes 3 hours to charge. The flap is magnetized, and so is the charging cord. A lot of these fat bikes have a flap that looks like this, just a rubber thing that fits in there, and then just a standard charger. But the recharge time on this is 11 hours. That's pretty high for fat bikes. Usually I see about 6 to 7 hours. I did take both of these on a range test, and I had close to the same average speed and elevation gain. On the fat bike, I got 20 miles and had 30% battery left when I got home. On the xlab, I got 18.62 miles, and I had 18% battery life left. Even though there's a huge difference in battery size, as far as range goes, they were close to the same. But again, just know that you're gonna be pretty tired after 20 miles with this bike, because you have to put in a lot more effort than you do with this bike that pretty much does everything for you. There is one thing that xlab sacrificed in order to cut weight that I'm not a big fan of, and that's no front fork suspension. I get why they did it. This is a road bike. Road bikes typically don't have front fork suspension, but that doesn't mean that I have to like it. Since they're trying to cut weight and they didn't add suspension, they did put a carbon fiber fork on this. And when you compare that to a standard front fork suspension that you have on this fat bike, the weight difference is bigger than you think. This weighs 8 pounds. This weighs 1.5 pounds. Some quick math, and that's 6.5 pounds difference just in the front forks. A more comfortable ride is something that you do give up when you go with an ultra lightweight bike. No suspension equals a bumpier ride. On my range test, I took this throughout the city, and I did hit a couple patches of rough road. With no suspension, when you hit rougher sections of the trail like this, it is a little bit bumpy. Most of the 18 miles was actually pretty smooth, especially when I was in the bike lane. Before I talk about the last 2 things that xlab did to save weight on their bike, I want to do a quick tally to see how much weight we've saved so far. I've got the frame, which is 10 pounds, the motor is 7 pounds, battery is also 7 pounds, and the front fork is 6.5 pounds. That's 30.5 pounds in just 4 areas. Okay, now that that's settled, let's move on to the last 2. I put the bike side by side because I gotta show you the size difference in the tires. That's xlab, and that's the fat bike. 4-inch wide, this is probably 1.5 inches. That's another 2 to 3 pounds just in the tires. I get why these are so popular because 4 inches means that there's a lot of rubber meeting the road, and that makes these types of bikes very stable. But I grew up with bikes with tires this size, so for me, stability wasn't an issue. Both of these pretty much felt the same. I actually like these types of tires for trail and road riding because of how quiet they are. Ooh, 35 miles an hour. But then they also just pick up speed so fast with any type of hill. The last thing they did to save weight is right here. This fat bike's LCD screen is just connected to the handlebars, and it's quite large. Theirs is very small and integrated into the handlebars. That's a small thing, but many small things add up to a lot of weight. Now, if you don't care about weight because you have a trail right by your house, or you just plan on riding your bike on the road, you may care about power. A 250 watt motor is not a lot of power. That's 500 watts less than that. Off the line, it's really quite slow. The motor reaction time on this is insane. As soon as there's any pressure on the pedals, it goes. Oh, wow, like right there. Let me reset again because I want to talk about a unique feature that a lot of mid-drive bikes don't have, and that's a throttle. The throttle's not very powerful, and it tops out about 15 miles per hour. And speaking of not very powerful, this bike is pretty slow up hills. Whew, legs are getting a burn climbing up this canyon. Oh, I'm glad I have all these gears to climb because you'll need them. It powers you to the top, but you do got to work for it, that's for sure. The power is really my only gripe. I just like e-bikes that carry me down the road, that do all the work for me. And that's not what this bike is. This is the type of bike that you get if you want to take the edge off. The type of bike that when you get back from a 20-mile ride, you're going to have a decent burn in your legs. And that's kind of how it is with road bikes. They're designed to be lightweight with just a little bit of power, just to help you go another few miles. So what do you guys think? Did xlab's sacrifice performance in order to cut down the weight? For me, I'd say no. I thought it performed very well throughout all the tests that I put it through. Again, you gotta work harder with this bike than the big old fat bike, but when you do, the stats are pretty comparable. So if you're okay with a little burn in your legs, of getting a little exercise after your ride, this bike will do that. All right, so which bike would you guys choose? The 37 ultra lightweight that gives you a burn, or the 80-pound monster that does it for you? Let me know in the comments.